They're migrating starting from scratch, right? You have to learn the culture, you got to learn the new financial system, everything. And some of us come from a system that there's corruption, we don't trust it. Some of us come from a system where it's just like the United States, we can easily transition. So there's a lot of barriers that we need to think about. So don't know anything about credit. Some of us come from a cash system. But the most important thing is that we work like several jobs. You know?
Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting show of the About That Water podcast. I am your host, Anthony Weaver, and we focus on the sandwich generation to help you build strong financial habits so that you can spend money, talk about money, and enjoy your money with confidence. And today, I have somebody who is, I guess you could say, a force to reckon with when it comes to the outreach perspective. She has always looking for the right ways and the right tools to make sure that she's providing the greatest information for our audience. And when I mean like she's a force that's going after what, she's cold calling people. She is not only cold calling, she will show up on the door and knock people down, you know what I'm saying, to get what she needs to get to make sure that she's providing the best information. And I just want to thank you so much for coming on the show, Petra-Ann. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Anthony. I am great. I'm so happy to be here. Right. That wallet, you know, I want to be happy with my money. I want to happily spend my money. So let's talk about how we can happily spend our money.
Well, let's talk about it. Like, what is the most, let's see, what is the one thing that you're so happy that you purchased it that you still use today?
Oh, I don't know if I still use it, but I attended a event of one of the Caribbean events that we have here in Connecticut. Caribbean Connections is called. And since, you know, I'm a financial coach, so, and money conscious, so I really spend money in terms of these things. I spend money on like vacation. That's what my value is.
Right.
So I had to go buy a dress and I went to Macy's. Okay. I don't go to Macy's. I went to Macy's. My mom had some coupons because she loved Macy's, so she had those star points. I was like, everybody got coupons? I went there. I saw this dress. It was beautiful because I didn't want any black because everybody wear black to galas. And I was like, I don't want to wear black. And I walked in, saw this beautiful burgundy kind of dress. And I just picked it up. I tried it on, looked for my size, tried it on, looked beautiful on me. I said, this is it. My husband was with me. They look at the price tag. And then I went to the register. It was like $100 and something. I look at my husband, I was like, what? He was like, just buy it. He wasn't there. I was like, $100 and something for a dress I'm going to wear one time. He was like, you better find another use for it, but right. You should buy it. And I bought it. It had a great time. It was a beautiful dress. I felt so beautiful in it. But I mean, I would not have, that's not what I do. You know, I'm a couponer. Mm-hmm. I don't buy anything at full price. Which I did not this dress anyway. I did get like $6 off. I paid originally $2 something and I ended up paying $1 something for it. So, but it was a great purchase. The reason why, because I enjoyed it. I had fun. I just went in there and bought something without thinking about it, which is so not me. Nice.
Well, I mean, but that is an amazing thing when you cross that threshold of confidence in your finances. You're like, you know what? Not that I deserve it, but the fact that I can do it without it impacting any part of your finances, you know?
Yes, exactly. Plus, you know, I knew this gala was coming up and I did allocate money for this because, you know, I had none of these kind of clothes. Mm-hmm. I go to like Rainbow and stuff, you know, Marshalls, Marshalls, TJ Maxx, you know, Burlington. So I don't have any of these nice stuff. Also, my church clothes. You don't want to wear church clothes to a gala. So
they don't know. Wait.
Everybody was dressed to a T, and these are Caribbeans, these are Jamaicans, you know, Bajans. I mean, they go all out. Right. So I got my hair done, got my nails done. I did a whole shebang, so I knew it was going to cost. So I allocated money for it, and then you know I was okay because I knew what my parameters are, and I went out to bought it, and I stayed within my budget, so it was pretty good.
That's good. Because I'd like to ask that question because a lot of times we feel afraid to spend money on things that we really want. And we feel guilty sometimes of purchasing it. And sometimes it's like, well, I bought it for this one thing. What other uses am I going to use this for? Did you decide to keep it or did you give it back? Did you donate it back? What you
No,
do?
I keep it.
Oh,
I
you're
do
like-
not do that. I wore it. I danced in it. I sweat in it. That is not right. No, I am not giving that thing. That's no.
No, you
I had
wouldn't.
no. My moral compass
Oh, no,
would
I
not
heard
allow me to return it. But I have it in my closet. I'm thinking, I was like, is anything else going to come up for me to wear this dress? I was like, I need to wear it again. So I'm sure somebody's going to have a wedding somewhere, or some kind of ball, or maybe a class reunion. Something's going to come up for me to use it again. But either way, I'm not stressing it. It doesn't think about it. It's beautiful. It's in my closet. It's a fond memory. It's a really, really fun memory. So I had a great night with some girlfriends, just celebrating with the Caribbean people. I had some Caribbean music, celebrating our achievement. It was fun. I love it.
That's good. So, obviously, a lot of people my audience is new to you. And what is it that got you to where you are today? It's like, let's say, start with your early memory of money. What is your earliest memory of money?
Oh, well, my memory of money changed. I had two drastic memory of money. One, when I was in Jamaica before I migrated to the US, we were I would say the better off, the affluent member in our little community. I live in the country. People in Jamaica don't know we're there. So I live in the country. But, and I don't want to say affluent, like my father was rich, flowing, no, but like I was the only one in the community at that time that had a TV. I was wearing shoes on my feet. My friends were going barefoot to school. So in my mind, I was like, okay, we have a little bit more than my neighbors, right? Most of us were farmers, but for some reason, we had just a little bit more. And then I came here when we migrated to the US. We had nothing. We had to start from scratch, zero. And my mom, who migrated as a teacher, had to come here and start all over, right? Because some things doesn't translate or doesn't transition with you. I didn't know about it back then. Maybe you can transfer your credentials now. I don't know, but she came here and became essentially start cleaning people's homes in the rich areas, right? That's what we do. We got the connection, start cleaning homes and taking care of their kids. And so some nights I was left to be the cook and I had to just create something out of nothing. I remember this one particular incident where I would never forget. It's always my pain point where I go back to every time when I realize how blessed I am now is that I was opening the refrigerator and all there was two single hot dogs. That's all that was there, and a bag of flour. Right. So what I did was I cut up the hot dogs, sauce it down with some ketchup, and then make some dumplings and boil that. And we have boiled dumpling and sausages. My sister and I we had a great dinner. So we always had food, but go from always have food at home back in Jamaica to coming here and just making something out of nothing, and then seeing how my mom worked. Come from a teacher to be basically a domestic servant, right? And then now as a ed nurse, as an RN. It shows me that anything is possible. So my memory of money is that, yes, we don't, but you don't have, that's only temporary. You're passing through, right? You'll be content where you are until you get to where you want to go, or you work to where you want to go. So now, money is not as much of a scarcity anymore. Is not evasive. It's not missing. But we're okay. So those are my two memories of money, early memories of money.
Yeah. So, seeing your mom going through that, how was your dad? Did he come over too?
No, usually my mom migrated first and then she brought us up and then my dad came later. So that's usually the flow of it. Everybody don't come out all at once. One person come, set things in motion and, file for you come over. And then plus my father had a lot of businesses in Jamaica eventually as my mom was over here trying to get things right, So he couldn't just up and leave all his things at his land and all that kind of stuff. We didn't have anywhere to leave it to. So they had to make that decision. I don't know what the conversations were, but they're still married, but
okay.
I wasn't privy to that kind of information. I just knew my dad wasn't with us at the time.
Gotcha. And so does that actually help you in your business today? Like while you helping other people, coming through that particular upbringing, does that actually impact the way how you view money now?
It does. I am, I don't look at it as if I don't have it. It's a big deal. Some people like, oh, my life is over, or they say, why can't I figure this out? I just know once you have the information and once you have opportunity, anything is possible. So my experience with money and a lot of different various experiences I have with money definitely helped me to be a better coach, helped me to be an empathetic coach, helped me to show people and show them through experience. And I think that's the best coach you can have, is someone, we're not just talking from textbooks, because we all read, right? Read every day. We digest this stuff. We absorb this stuff, right? We just boom, boom, boom. All this money stuff. I read articles, I read books. But at the end of the day, your experience is what can really change and shift somebody to say, look, this is possible. I was here. You're here. And this is how I came through it. And I think that's the amazing thing about it. Because even though I went through that, when I went to college and graduated and started making money, I still wasn't responsible with it. I was like, okay, I have money now. So I spend and buy what I wanted, right? Yeah. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm doing that. I had debt, lots of debt. And I'm like, wait a minute. I wanted to stop using my credit card. I'm like, I'm paying so much money in credit card. I want to stop using my credit card. And when I tried that, I didn't have enough money in my bank account to buy a large pizza. I was like, pizza back then was like, a large pizza was like, what, $17, not even $15 back then. Mm-hmm. So it was like the idea that I couldn't buy a large pizza from my money without using my credit card, that was a wake-up call for me. Because I didn't realize I was mismanaging it. I didn't. I just knew I had enough to buy, because I had a good paying job. I had enough to buy what I want, right? And I was not living this splashy life. I was never that person, but yet I didn't have it. So where was it going? Because I wasn't buying fancy cars. I wasn't buying fancy clothes. I was still the way I grew up, still Marshalls, BJ's, because that's what my mom used to bring us to Salvation Army to buy clothes, because that's what we could afford. So I still continued on that path, but yet I still didn't have the money. Where was it going? And that's why, debt eat your income, right? It takes away your income. So that's what happened to me.
Yeah. And what did you do to get out of that rut?
I said, I want money.
And it just started coming to you. Like, I did my affirmation in the mirror. Right.
No, I know. I decided I do not want this kind of life, because I promised myself, the reason I went to college and I was so focused. I mean, funny story, I ran into a high school friend. And they were surprised that I was married with kids, because it was like, you were so focused. You didn't even see boys. You were so tunnel vision. And I was tunnel vision because I wanted to leave that circumstance that I was in and make a better life for myself and my family. And I did that. But here I am, not totally out of it, right? It's still kind of survival, because if something should happen from my job, I'm back to square one. So really, there is no security there. There's no freedom there, right? So all that sacrifices, and then now what? I'm making money, and what's happening? So I realized, getting back to your question, what made me make that change is like the fact, the fear or the anxiety that, oh my gosh, I can go back to our empty refrigerator. Yeah, I can go back to an empty cupboard. I was like, nope, this story is changing. I'm rewriting this story. Absolutely not. And I started just diving deeper into, the internet, YouTube. I went to YouTube University. I found out about Dave Ramsey, went through their coaching program, the 7 steps. I did all that. I even did his coaching program as well, and get certification through his coaching program before I went and do other things. But that was it for me. That was the wake-up call. I was like, no, I can't. I worked too hard. I made too many sacrifices. I denied myself too much to go back to that space. So everyone to move on have to have the enough is enough moment for them to make that change. If they're not there, they're not ready. You have to have something to say enough is enough, whether it's your kids, whether it's your life situation, whether it's the fact that you want to go on vacation, all they can do is go to your backyard. Yeah, something has happened for you to say, you know what? It's over. I'm starting over, change here, it ends here, and then you go do it. Once that switch turned on, you're determined.
And one of the things I like about that is when that switch comes on, I always treat it as if it's like a disease. If the doctor come up to you and say like, hey, you can no longer have peanuts or you'll die.
I know.
And if you can switch your habit so quickly to get peanuts out your life, why can't you do that about everything else? So if you say like, hey, if you go to another happy hour and buy a drink, your finances are going to go back to zero. If you treat it like a disease, you operate differently. So what was that one thing that you had to cut back on that you noticed that you were spending a lot of money on to kind of get you focused back on? Because I'm familiar with the Dave Ramsey process. So what was it that you noticed that you're spending a lot on that you need to cut back on?
My family. I got to be like, oh, you guys got to get a job. No, my family, I give a lot, you know, and as immigrants, we are told to take care of each other, to take care of family. We're here, you know, this country is it's very hard. So we got to give back, not only here. And that's one of the many challenges that immigrants have, not only taking care of family here and yourself, but you're also taking care of family back home. And in addition to that, we had gotten to the habit of eating out on Friday nights. I know where it came from. Friday nights, no one cooks, you know. It's Friday. Where are we going to eat out? Where are we going to go? It's Friday. So we cook all the way from Sunday to Thursday. And then Friday, it's like, boom. So I realized that too, even in my family, with my mom, everybody. So I will eat out Friday night for dinner, right? And then go to visit my mom on the weekends. And we're like, oh, let's go for breakfast. Then obviously if they didn't cook anything from the night before, there's no leftovers, right? So lunch, dinner. And then Sunday morning, grandma always cook a nice feast. And then Sunday afternoon, mom was like, let's go to the all-you-can-eat place. I'm like, okay. So at that time was like hometown buffet. I mean, almost every Sunday we're at hometown buffet. And then or the Chinese one, the Chinese all you can eat. So I was like, when I had that switch, I was like, Mom, we're not doing that anymore. She was like, what? I was like, no, we're not doing that anymore. I was like, if a family member needs something, we can, but if it's something they can do on their own, they're gonna have to figure it out. If it's a situation like, you know, somebody is sick or something they need help, absolutely. But we're just going to say, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. If we're going to send money back home, say, you know what, we're going to send money home once a month or every quarter. We just like, we're going to put some barriers, put some railing on this thing. Because I realized, because those money that goes out of the family is not coming back. It is not coming back, right?
You know it.
And then can you please stop using the word borrow? You're not borrowing the money, okay? Just say, right. Can I have the money? I'm looking at it like, I've been giving you money for years. That money have never come back. So, and Jamaicans have this saying, I don't know if it's in America as well. It's like, as long as I owe you, you'll never go broke. I was like,
it's the same.
Yes, I will go broke because you're not giving it back. So have no problem helping families, but I just put guardrails around it and how much. And I tell my immigrant clients is that we like to give back, which is there's no problem with that, but you need to allocate a certain amount that you're going to give back monthly or quarterly. And once you reach that threshold, that's it. Tell them it's over. You have to wait for the next quarter or the next month because you're done. And so I denied myself going out. I changed that. I was like, we're going to cook on the weekends too. You know, it's okay.
Yeah. And how did they, because I would say now that your mom and everybody, it seemed like almost that was a y'all family event. But now that y'all don't have that family event anymore, what was like that conversation like? Did they like accept it, or just like you and your immediate family did not show up to the next one?
Well, my mom was like, is it that bad? Is everything okay? I was like, I'm broke. I'm broke, mommy. And that was very impactful for me because some of us are so ashamed, right? And some of us use that fear, like when people see us a certain way. Because I was the one that went to college in a family, and people look at me as I got myself together and I'm making good money, right? They don't know how much, but they know I was making money, and they feel like I'm the successful one. We're the one that's doing well. So they look up to you and they look at you as, okay, this is what we need to aspire to, right? That's the reality of it. You are the one that did it. You made it out. You're doing things. And I had to go back and say, no, I don't have any money. I don't. And not to say I had like $3,000 in savings, but that was like my life vest. It's like my lifeboat. That I didn't touch it. It didn't exit, but that was my money. Like if anything should happen, I'm like, that was my safety net. Made me feel okay. But other than that, in my checking and regular savings account, because that was at a different bank account. That was at a different bank. It was at a credit union. And I would advise anybody to do that. You have your checking and saving combo, and then you have one savings account that's out of reach, out of sight, doesn't exist. Secret stash. I know. But I had to go back and say, no, I don't have it. I said, oh, stop it, Petra. You do. I was like, no, I don't. I was like, if I do not use my credit card, I do not. So I was like, that's going to change. And that empowered me. That took away the fear. That took away the shame of it. And I just told my mom, no, I'm broke. Once I said those lines, it was like I got empowered. And I was like, okay, now I told you. Now I'm going to do this. What I'm going to do. And they come to me and they always said to me, oftentimes, like, Petra, do you really have to go that hard? I'm like, yes, I am. I was like, yes, I am. I'm going real hard. I was like, I'm not searching this thing out for 3 years. I was like, in 15 months, I'm done. Wow. I said maximum 2 years, and I had $68,000 in debt, and I did it within that time.
Let's go.
Bam, 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 bam.
Know, right? Because it's like a switch that goes off, and setting those boundaries have really helped you out. Mm-hmm. Man, because it gets you to think of like how many other people are willing to make those type of sacrifices with their family. Well, are they afraid to have those conversations with their parents? Because I'm thinking about, people like yourself who are in the sandwich generation. Like, you got kids to take care of. You have your own household to take care of first before you deal with mom and dad. And it's like, yo, I need a break.
Yes.
So how was it with the kids? Like, did the kids take it okay? Where they was like, hey, well, we don't get to see.
I was in a good spot, actually, to be honest with you. And it was scary. Don't think it wasn't. It took a lot. But the desire to be better off outweighs what they will feel about me and the opinion of me changing. I was in a better spot because my son was young. My husband and my son was young. He was still under 1 years old.
Okay.
And another tipping point for me was that we said that we're not going to use a credit card anymore. And I was like, okay, the baby need diapers. And my husband would say, we're going to get the money from. And, I remember being so irritated one day. And I was, and this was right in the same moment of when everything was just enough is enough was coming together for me. And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, we need diapers. It doesn't matter if I put in a credit card. We need diapers. Yeah. And he was very, I don't want to use debt because he came into a relationship debt free. He came in debt free. So he was like, I just want to stop using the credit card. I'm like, I understand, but I need diapers for my child and I'm not going to nappies, So, right. And brother who don't know what nappies are, is just what Jamaicans, what we use to, those cloth things, the soap and put the thing cloth, and just that run. No, we're not doing that.
It runs out.
We're not done properly. No. So, I don't want to have those conversations, right?
Yeah.
This is what the person I love, my partner, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to have those kind of conversations. So, and how hard is that to look at each other and say, to buy you diapers like I put in a credit card? Like, that's very painful, very painful. I can't provide for my family. We can't provide for our family. And that was very heartbreaking for my husband as well, and for both of us. And we had to realize that we want the same thing for our family. And we want us to be financially stable because we're both coming from a place of nothing, of food insecurities and stuff like that, especially my husband's side. So we don't want to go through that again. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. But it's really good that, you both were on the same page with that, because they talk about marriages usually fail because of finances. Mm-hmm. But really deep down, when you think about it, it's about the communication about the finances.
Yes.
And so with you being a certified person in the financial realm, why you focus on the finances so much instead of anything else?
What if finance why I focus on the core building blocks versus all the investments and stuff like that? Because most people, when they come to me, they said, help me do you do investment and stuff? And then you want to invest, but you don't have $2 in your savings account. It doesn't make sense. Make it make sense, right? You don't have the discipline or the understanding of those core principles for you to build that foundation. It's going to crumble, right? And, the Bible story that says you build a house on the sand, you build a house on a rock, right? Which one is going to sustain itself? So I'm passionate about teaching people the foundation, giving them the tools to build that strong foundation. So when they're done, they can go off and build their wealth. But you cannot build wealth if you don't understand the principle of savings, the principle of how debt affect your paycheck, and how budgeting helps you manage it all and to get that goal and dream that you have in your mind. If you don't have that, is pointless.
So why the so what is it that somebody right now that's listening to this who, like you said, don't have those only have those $2, and with so much amounts of debt, and everybody's asking for money, and they just don't know what to do. Are you more of a defense side of the person, or are you more offense? Meaning, like, offense is like, hey, go get a job, increase your income, or you more of the defense, like, hey, let's cut back on your spending and let's focus on your core structure first?
I do both. We have to look at the whole person, right? You can't just attack one side. You need both sides to win a game. You need defense and you need offense, right? You can put all defense you want, but if you're not making the shots, you're not going to get enough points for the game, right? So you're not winning. So I look at both sides as a financial coach, and I tell my individuals or tell my clients, I say, okay, what are your pain points? You got to identify your pain points, right? We all have them. And if you only have $2, a lot of us have pride. I know in the immigrant community, there's a lot of pride.
Right.
Right? There's a lot of pride. All right. So you only have $2 and you have all these bills that you have to pay. Okay. What are the necessities? We need food. Okay. What can supplement your food right now? Can we go to a food pantry temporarily? And supplement the food and lower the cost of the food while you try to do these other things. What else can you do? What other services are out there? That's why it's good, and I tell all financial coaches, I hope they know of those nonprofits out there that provide certain help in your community, in your local community that you're operating out of, because then it can direct people to those services. I had a client who was on the verge of being evicted, and I knew of a program that supply temporarily short-term money for them to stay in their home, like in their rent, supplement their rent for a certain amount of time if they get certain things in order and if they go through like a coaching program. So obviously she'll leave from me as a coach and go to that coaching program because she had to go through that program to get the help she need and for them to pay her rent for the few months that they would, right? No problem with that. But so what would I do with somebody who has $2? I will look where they are. Is it money issue? Is it an income issue? Is it, or is it a spending issue? Right? If it's an income issue, then we got to get you some services. If it's a spending issue, then we got to tighten it up, cut back on some spending, and then take that money and reallocate it to the place that it needs to be so you can get back to be financially stable.
Nice. And obviously you're focusing on the immigrants and minorities to help financial freedom. Why that particular demographic?
Because I'm an immigrant.
I know it's like a rhetorical question.
No, honestly, all seriousness, I see the struggles that we go through. We come here, when this person migrate, they're migrating something from scratch, right? You have to learn the culture. You got to learn the new financial system, everything. And some of us come from a system that there's corruption. We don't trust it. Some of us come from a system where it's just like the United States. We can easily transition. So there's a lot of barriers that we need to think about. Some don't know anything about credit. Some of us come from a cash system. But the most important thing is that we work like several jobs, Yeah. Working is not the issue. We work and we can always find a job. I mean, one of these running jokes about Jamaican is like, when I tell people I'm Jamaican, they ask me, how many jobs do I have?
How many jobs do you have, right?
How many jobs do you have? And the thing is, it's funny, but at the time when they asked me, I had several jobs. Even though I had a great career job, I still had several other jobs. And I'm like, when I married my husband, he was like, why do you have all these jobs? I'm like, that's all I know. Like, what do you mean? Job, you work. Right. He was like, well, it doesn't have to be that way. So making the money work for you. So you have all these jobs, you have all this responsibility. And I think a piece in the financial world that is not really discussed or explored is the fact that most immigrants are not just taking care of home here as they're trying to build their financial lives here. They also have to uplift and their families back home. You know, they're giving a lot to their families back home. Those barrels being sent back home, those packages. Those. I mean, Western Union, those money transmitters, you know, they're making money. They're making money. You know, so I think it's a unique challenge that we have, our unique perspective, or something that's different in the financial world that most other cultures, probably our American finances, doesn't really address. So that's why I focus on that. But I know I help anyone that come across my desk. I'm going to turn them away. And to be honest, right now I have more enough of my non-clients on my non-target market than I have my target market. But that's why I like the immigrant community, because I know what it is to start from scratch, work your way up, you get to where you want to be, and know that you have money. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah. And when did you actually finally get your certification? Because I'm just going through your timeline. When did
I get it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So when did I get it? That's a good question, Anthony. I just be going.
It seems like you just like whatever happens.
Tracking. I don't be tracking. Unlike my money that I track every month, I don't be tracking these things. So I went to the Dave Ramsey program, the coaching program, right? I got that free. And then they stopped bombarding you with emails, right? Yeah. So they had a coaching program, went through their coaching program. But obviously I feel like needed more than that, because I always want to keep learning and go. And before that, I was going to money seminars. I really was. I was reading books. That was just a crescendo for saying, hey, let me see what this coaching program is about. How can I help people? How can I be of service? And I went through, then I got my certified financial examiner. Oh, that's something. That's my job. I'm not examiner. Hold on. That's my job. What's my other certification? What are you looking at? What's my other certification? My CFEI, right?
Yeah.
Certified financial education. Yeah, instructor. Yeah, that one. Yes. So I went to that one because I was very serious. I was like, I really want to help people. I want to make sure I help them correctly. You know, yes, it's nice. I read the books. I have those kind of knowledge, but how can I put it together in a package so they can be impactful for the individual? Because everybody can have knowledge, but you have people who go out and talk on the stage. You have people who go and move you, right? Again, go on that same stage and move you differently, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to be impactful for my clients, so that's why I continue to get this certification and growing. But when did I get it? I don't know the date, but I got it. I have a certification.
I want to be like you when I grow up, just doing it just because I'm like, I don't know, I'm doing it. This is my thing. So, yeah. So, you know, with all the impact and everything like that you're providing, we just kind of move into the futures a little bit, which is, you know, where do you feel is, from a financial expert, what do you feel is the gaps that a lot of people are missing when it comes to their finances?
I used to say the know-how, right? But people are reading so much information out there. So they have all this information going on in their head. Everybody know you need to have an emergency fund, right? If you go on and like, oh, yeah, you need to have emergency fund. Oh, you need to budget. The action piece. The steps you need to take. Everybody's like, okay, I know this. What's the first step? What's the next step? Yep. Like giving them an order, you know, I think giving them some kind of direction, I think is what people are missing. Once they have this is the moment and they start going, the first thing you're going to do is go to Google or YouTube, right? You're going to get all this information. You're going to be bombarded with information, some good, some bad. You have to differentiate and cipher through that. But then you're like, crap, where do I start?
Yeah.
And I think that's what people need. People need order of doing things.
So give us the order.
What is the order, Petra? What is the order? Okay, everybody's different. It depends on where your starting point is. But let's say you're starting from nothing, or you're in a lot of debt like I was. First, you got to just face those numbers. And I tell people all the time, print your first 3 months of your bank statement. And you know why I do that with my clients? Because it jolts them. Some people have never looked at their bank statement, right? So, and I'm talking about all of them, your credit card, all of them, like 3 months. And then go through that line by line. Taking that action alone, give people such a wake-up call. It's unbelievable. Almost every one of my clients come across, I did not know. I was spending so much on this. I did not know this is where I was. So because we have an imagination, or we have an idea of what's happening. Oh, I'm in a lot of debt. How much debt? I just feel like I'm in a lot of that. People have emotions and feelings, but until they actually put numbers to that, and it's no longer conceptual, but actual, is and it's like it hit you over the head. And from there, I like to say, okay, what's next? What are your goals from here? What you want to do? So after they do that, I have them, as I said, depends on where they start, different pathway. There is, sometimes people have like 10 bank accounts.
10. Wow. Okay.
I know people with a lot of bank accounts, but let's back up a little bit. Once they look at their statements and see what's going on, what action you're going to take? If you say, well, I spend way too much on Uber Eats, okay, and that's what you want to focus on? Okay, tell me what you want to focus on. Or you can say, well, I see a lot of fees going on here. I didn't know these fees are coming out. I have a lot of subscriptions. So whatever you see the problem area is that you're spending the most money on, you're going to decide how you're going to cut that back, right? And then how's the flow of money coming in? I looked at that. Okay, your money comes here and it goes here, it goes here, it goes here from your paycheck. Does it go to one central location and then disperse so you can actually see the flow of money? I like people to see it's like streamline your money. I call it streamlining your money. For example, your paycheck get deposited into your checking account, and you can automatically send it to some to savings. You can automatically send some over here, but at least you see the lump sum that's coming in, and then you can start allocating to where you want to allocate it to. I think you need to organize your money in that sense. And obviously, before you even come to your checking account, please have it goes to your retirement account. Let's plug that in there. Please have some so you don't miss it. All right.
Right.
And then we go from there after we organize those. We start putting a plan in motion. And I do have them look at their credit report, but that's down the road. But budgeting doesn't come in right away. People say, we're going to start on budget. I was like, wait a minute. We got to change some behaviors first. Budgeting is not right away. We don't jump in that right away. No. So, we got to change some behaviors first.
Because obviously Dave Ramsey got the 7 steps. Is there like a Petra steps, you know what I'm saying, that you got?
You know what? I haven't named it.
Okay.
But there's definitely a process that I go through that definitely works and give the results that my clients need and want and they're happy with. But you're right. I should do that. I should have like a, outline it like that.
So, because I'm thinking of, we got those entry barriers. So a lot of my audience, well, the person that's listening to this right now might understand that already. What is it that they can do now that they understand, they finished beating themselves up like, hey, I suck at this. Now that they have all their information and they feel even worse, what should they do next?
What are you asking me? What should they do next in terms of what? Be more
because they know, okay, like they feel like, okay, I need to cut back on some of the things. Okay, they played the defense side of the house. Where can we start making this money? Because now that they found the money where it's going at, they started cutting everything out.
We can't cut everything at once though, Anthony. Some people can go cold turkey, but we want to jolt the system. But I find it beneficial if we reduce and we reduce and we reduce. So, for example, I have a client that go to Target every day. She was like, I don't even know why I go to Target every day. I just go to Target. I just pass by and just stop at Target. I like Target. I'm like, that's great. I'm like, fantastic. I say, you go to Target? She was like, yeah, I go to Target 7 days a week. I'm like, okay. I was like, what do you get at Target? Sometimes I just walk around. I'm like, okay. I was like, okay, can we reduce that? Can we cut it down to maybe, not 7 days a week? She was like, I can do 40. I make them pick it. Obviously, it's your journey, right? I'm not going to give you a number. You got to choose that number. Because as your coach, I'm going to hold you to it. And once you say it, right? And I write it down, I say, okay, 4 days this week, right? Then in your head, crafts, that's how it comes. And then just like that, she was able to do it. And now she only go to Target, like probably only when she needed, because she go her grocery shopping or when she needs something for her kid. But she did that. So I don't say jump on it right away and get upset with yourself and beat yourself up. You don't know what you don't know. This is the learning process. You cannot be upset with yourself for something that you didn't know, So that's a learning process. You've been there. Now what? You take little steps. What they say, Anthony? Small steps make big changes or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many different analogies with that. Because I usually say raindrops create oceans.
Oh, I like that. I've never heard that one. Raindrops create oceans. Okay. Yeah. All right, I like it. Might steal that one. But plagiarize that.
Go for it. Please. You don't got to quote me for it either. Just take it. I would just say, so it's no plagiarism. I'll just say it's unknown.
Okay.
Now, because we even talked a little bit in the green room option as far as the future side of the house, you were talking about technology. Have you decided implementing AI or any other technical tools or apps that has been helpful for your clients?
For my clients, I usually, if they want to go to the budgeting piece, I tell them to go and explore different budgeting options out there. So everybody know you need a budget, every dollar budget, and I say, okay, go look at them, see what you like. I don't recommend one over the other. I use a Dave Ramsey one because that's what I started out with, right? When I went to the program, and I really enjoy it. Are there limiting features? Probably, yeah, compared to the others. But I got it down pat. It's like running like gravy. It's good. It's all good. But I have them go and do the research and figure out what apps they look for. Look, what is it that you need in the app? What is it that you're trying to get from it? And they come back to me and say, okay, let's start using it. Right? And we'll set it up together. I sit with them and we go through it line by line, painstaking. We go through it together and set it up. And then we'll send them on their way to manage it, with their weekly or monthly date with their money. I call it their date night with their money. So each client pick a night. They're going to work with the money. If they're a partner, they date night with their money. So yeah.
Nice. Well, that's good. Are you
anything else? I'm sorry. Anything other than that? No, but I use stuff for myself business wise. If you want to know about that.
Okay. And because at this point we're going to start leaning into you.
Me? Okay.
Yeah, let's go and learn about you now. So like what areas of focus that you looking to improve on in your life?
My whole self, Anthony, I just want to actually, I thought about this at the end of last year. Every end of the year, you do a reflection and do a strategic plan and all this kind of stuff. And I said, what do I want to do personally? I want to strengthen my walk with God. Yes, I am a believer in my faith. I go to church regularly, but I still want to strengthen. I think it could be stronger because with kids now, I'm like, my son is doing track and all the meets are on Sunday. And I did not know that when I signed him up. And it's so upsetting to me because like they have no respect for people who are, who goes to church. I told that to the organizer. I was like, don't you know that people go to church?
Yeah.
Can we put them on Saturdays? But they explained to me that usually the cost is the spring. In the summer we have more in outdoor track, we have more Saturdays. When the indoor track season, high school get preference. Gotcha. So because he's in a club, he's only 8, he's in a club. So I said, okay, I understand. But so next year we won't be doing indoor track, obviously.
Yeah, look, you better get one of those treadmills from off of Amazon.
No, we're not doing track indoor. We're not doing that. Can't do that. But I want to strengthen my walk with God. And for my business wise, what I want to improve. What you said? What's what I want to do? What ask me a question.
Oh, this what habits that you or areas of focus that you plan on doing for yourself? So
technology wise, I'm behind the 8 ball because before I started my business, I avoided social media. I was one of those people who are just off the grid. So now I have to play catch up. And I don't have the means to hire somebody to do that job that I don't like yet. Mm-hmm. I will get there. I'll soon outsource it. I'm telling you, I'm going to fire myself soon. I pray to Jesus. But in the meantime, I got to figure this stuff out.
What is it that you don't want to do?
I don't want to do my social media. I would like to be, and because of everything that's going on in my life in terms of, having my full-time job, I've been an entrepreneur, having my kids, my family, I'm not as consistent as I would like to be. And I know there are scheduling apps out there. And I was like, okay, I got to find a day to just sit down and do all these recordings. I have it in my head. I just need to do that. And so technology, and putting systems in place, building systems, I really want to get that done this year so that I think if I have systems in place, then it will be easier for me to get what it is that I need and it won't be such a chore, right? Because it's just friction there. And that's what we do in financial coaching. I try to remove the friction so people can move on and get that financial stability that they want. Once you remove those frictions, people can, okay, this is easy, right? But yeah, I got to remove all those frictions that I have, which is a lot.
That's a lot. I mean,
Technology wise.
yeah. Well, that's the beauty of having these conversations and being around the people that are in this space. Because systems, I love to play around with systems. My system is not to have a system because I like to try everything.
Good for you. Where do you find the time to play around? I'm like, I need to get it done. I'm like,
schedule. So one of the things, because I had her on the show, is Bernadette Joy. And one of the things that she said as she was a keynote speaker for FinCon at one point, I
love her, by the way. I really love her. She was on my show too. She's amazing. So proud.
Amazing.
Doing great things.
She mentioned talking about like setting time and really limiting your time to other people. And that's part of her flow strategy. So FLOW, each acronym has something. But the L part was the most impactful to me. And since I've been implementing that part, it has helped me out a lot with my podcast. So like for these interviews, most of my interviews are either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. I don't really try to do anything throughout the week because when I tried it, there's a lot of no-shows. And since I've limited, everybody shows up. So I haven't had any cancellations or nothing. If it's a cancellation, more likely my fault because I was like, I can't make it. So push the time back a little bit, but
yeah,
it was just either doing it that way. So that's the reason why, like, some people were like, it's just you? And I'm like, yeah. They was like, how are you posting all this time and doing 3 posting for your shows and everything like that? It's like, you got to schedule everything out.
Well, how do you schedule when you have a 4-year-old? Oh, no, he's 5. He just turned 5 and an 8-year-old.
I don't have kids. But it comes back to, do what you can. Because I see a lot of people with social media with kids, and what they do is kind of implement their kids in that process. And because they making the kids part of it, you do a lot. You can allot some money to their income. And so you can actually create a brokerage account for them. And so you can donate, I think it's up to $16,000.
Yeah. I know that process, but I don't want my kids on social. I feel like
no. They hold your camera up for you. Like they don't have to be in the camera shot. Like they're doing things for you.
Okay.
To incorporate them in the business without showing that face. So
okay. Maybe my 8-year-old can do something. Yeah, you're right. He can do something. My 5-year-old, he's 5. My 5-year-old.
Let's go.
My 5-year-old, I gotta figure it out. He thinks he's a man, but he's not.
Okay.
Like, I can do it, mommy. I'm like, no, you can't. I'm like, yes, you can. Have a good try. Thank you for trying. In my head, I'm like, no, you can't.
Yeah.
A good try. Okay, yeah. You know what? That's a good point, Anthony. I will take that and do something with that. But limiting, yeah, I like that. I will marinate on that and see what I can do with that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Because I believe I was in church one day and they was like, well, if you make time out for work, you can make time out for church. And I was like, well, what about the rest of my life? We don't talk about that. Like, no, it's church only. And I was like, okay, I don't need to be here anymore. So that's what happened. With that
so let me get this right. With that church, right? You didn't just cross off church, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, just with that one. Because I was like, come on now. Like, I got a life too.
So there's a balance. And it's necessary, right? People tend to forget that, people in the Bible, they danced, they socialized, they had dinner parties, they had gatherings, they got together. And it's very important for us to be with people. Yeah. I truly believe that. It's very important.
So what do you think is very essential for people who haven't started yet and they looking to start?
It's either you're going to start. I don't think you're looking to start. I think you start. Once you have that, this is it moment, you are starting because your brain already switched off and say, okay, something's getting done. We're going to do this. Now, once you are there, and once again, we need those steps, right? You're going to figure out what your pain points are. You'll know what your problems are. If you go to anybody, that's like, I'm a spender. I like to spend. Or so it's like, I like to go out with friends. Like, everybody knows something about the behavior that is keeping them back from the financial stability that they want. They might not know everything yet, because they have to look at it and do an analysis of everything. But at a minimum, what those core issues are that you're working with. As for me, as I said, I know it's my family, and it was eating out every weekend with my family. I know. So if you're looking to start, admit it to yourself. Be honest. Be honest with it. I think once you can say it out loud, like, okay, I'm broke. I don't have the money, and take away that facade, right? And just be truthful to yourself, and especially so challenging if people see you as the one that with the money, right? People see that the one that's doing well, and you have to change the whole perception of what they have of you. It can be a little bit, if that was your identity, it can be a challenge, but you have to be true to yourself and then start living in that truth and work to where you want to go. Know that it's only temporary. It is only temporary. You're passing through. And as you get through one obstacle, you're going to get to the next one. Whatever you're going through is building you and forging you to be the version of yourself that you want to be.
Nice. Well said. Well said. Is there anything that you want to leave the audience with before we dive into the final 4 questions?
I was in a Tony Robbins seminar workshop, 3-day free workshop that he does at the beginning of the year. It was my first time going to one of them. I've seen his clips coming and stuff. And he said something. He said, if you can't, then you must. Right? So people are so fearful because they say, oh, I can't do that, or, whatever. He said, if you can't, then you must. So those cold calls you talk about that I make, I don't know, that just happened. But, because I'm so scared, that's why I do most of the things I do. Because I'm like, if it's scary, that I mean, it's going to yield great results. Right. But for anything to happen in your life, you have to take massive action. You have to act. So I'm telling anybody that's listening or watching this, but any change to happen, you got to act. You got to take initiative. You got to start. Sitting on the sideline just hoping and dreaming or thinking about what could be. No, you got to start. And I know people say this all the time, it's so contrary, but it has to be perfect. Just get out of your head. Get out of your head. It might look stupid doing it. You might fall down. You might bruise yourself. It's okay. This is your life. I'm not sitting around thinking about your life and what your problems are. Only you. It's happening to you.
Right, because you got our own lives to live, right?
So get out of your head what people are going to think. Like, nobody's sitting home thinking about you and your financial issues. Only you are facing that in your family. So you need to be concerned about you and your family and what everybody else think or feel or see or might have their perception of you may be. So think about that.
Got it. All right. So you ready for the final 4?
Okay. What's the final 4?
All righty. So the way how the final 4 works, so the final 4 questions, they same for everybody, unless you've been on the show multiple times. You get different ones. But
the first time. So okay.
Yes, the first time you get this set. All right.
Drink some water. I'm going to just give myself a...
Perfect. All right. So number 1.
Yes.
What does wealth mean to you?
Oh, wealth means to me choices. Choices, experience, and the ability to give back. And I say choices, I mean, like, Anthony, I was not able to, like, my son said he wants to do track. And I said, okay, he can do track. And I can be there. I can be at practices. I can go to games, even though it's on Sunday right now. I can go to games, I can go to meets. Sorry, not games, meets, right? I have choices. I can do experiences. Like, we're going on vacation once a year. And because that's what my value is. And I can do all inclusive because mommy need a rest. And I don't want to think about making breakfast. So right now, because they're still young, we're doing all inclusive because I'm not working. Okay, I need a vacation too. So you're hungry? Great. Go to the hut right over there. Go to that hut, right? You want some juice? Later, honey, have some juice, right? So, but I that's what it gives me. And who doesn't want that?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I can't wait to see you post on how you do these all inclusives because I'm like, I should
post. Thank you, Anthony. I don't post on anything. Oh my God. That's my problem. I don't think to post. Like, I got to get into that mindset of Petra. Oh, this could be a post. I don't think like that. I don't. Okay. Not right now. Not right now. I'm not going to say, what? I got to think like that, right?
Okay. Well, I mean, like you said, you can't, which means that you must.
Yes.
But if this one of those can'ts, it's okay.
Yeah, I gotta think it. I gotta change my mindset around that. Just think, oh, this is that's how you do it. That's how you do it. Does something happen? Oh, this could be a post.
Right. This could be. I think posts of me just eating food.
Really?
So it's okay. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so mundane. I would think, oh, it's so mundane. Okay, whatever.
Well, put some
Okay.
text. Put some text on there. I mean,
All right. Okay. New me, 2025. You're gonna see more. Woo! I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm taking charge here.
All right. Number 2. What was your worst money mistake?
As I said, giving too much to family, but I love them dearly. I want to support them. But one of the worst mistakes I made was when I started my job. I knew, because I went to business school, right? Did my accounting degree and all that kind of stuff. I knew to contribute to my retirement account. What I didn't do, because it was in the 2008 whole financial craziness, right? Didn't get a raise for a while. So my initial plan was every time I get a raise, I'll put that difference in. Because my money was frozen, everything, didn't get raises. I really didn't. What I should have done was, no matter what, every year I increased that, even if by $50, increase my contribution year over year. That's what I should have done. So it's okay, but it could have been so much better. If I just increased it year over year, it would have been so nice.
All right. Number 3. Is there a book that inspired your journey or changed your perspective?
What not really inspired or changed, but reinforced what I knew, and that's the Millionaire Next Door. I read that, and I reread it, and I was like, yeah. Because the reason it reinforced what I knew is because I know individuals that are like multimillionaires, and you'll never know because they look dirty, they look beat up because they're coming from work. They want to help their own businesses, and you'll just never know. So many people have come to me and told me their stories, and I'm like, the millionaires that you're looking for are the carpenters or the contractors or the electricians. You might be laughing at them, thinking their pants is under their butt, but guess what? That man, you're paying him $100 for like half an hour or $500 for that. They're millionaires. They're rich. They got the money.
Right. I love that book. Yeah, I
Yeah,
need to reread
it's
it.
a good book, right? Every time I read it twice. Every time I reread it, I got something new from it, like something you just passed over before, because you're in a different place of your life, so you get different meanings from different things.
I like that. Number 4. What is your favorite dish to make?
My favorite dish to make is chicken foot soup. Chicken foot soup. The reason why it's so easy to make, I like when the kids, and I always make Saturday soup. I still do that, and I still make Saturday soup. And if you ask an islander, they tell you, especially Jamaican, soup you just cook on Saturdays. Don't know rhyme and reason. That's just when it's cooked, and I just continue that tradition because that's what I know. But it just put everything in the pot. Some dumplings, some potatoes, some yam. You just at one pot, and it's a hearty meal, and you're good to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there like a veggie option? Because just asking. For a friend.
Actually, I brought it unknowingly. I brought it to work earlier in my career, and it actually, look at eating area cafeteria, and I was sucking on my foot, my chicken foot, and people look at me like, they were like, the Americans are like, what? Are you eating? I'm like, yeah. But the good thing is that I had a Polish coworker as well, and a Chinese coworker, and they know what it was. No, not the Polish one. The Chinese coworker, and who was the other one? Was she Beijing or Trinidadian? Another islander, and they knew exactly. They was like, "Oh, we love it too." I'm like,
Nice.
"Great!" Everybody was like, "Eating a chicken foot." Like, they didn't even know it was edible. And the thing is, Anthony, you can't even find it in the supermarket. Like, it goes like hotcake. Okay,
Oh, wow.
you have to go there. Yeah, one of the person working there, I was like, "You have a chicken foot in the back?" He was like, "No." He's like, "Before I work here, I didn't know that thing sold, but now I come here working at this grocery market. I'm doing, packing." He was like, "That's the number one thing people fight over. It's chicken foot." I'm like, "Yeah, it's a hot commodity. Chicken foot is great."
Okay.
But I can make it any kind of soup. I love soup.
Okay. Because I was looking at the ingredients because it was reminding me a little bit about corn soup, but
Oh, okay.
so yeah, I like corn soup.
Okay.
So
Or pepper soup. You like pepper soup?
I haven't tried pepper soup.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I might add that to my list.
Do you eat goat?
Yes,
Do you eat meat?
I do from time to time.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
like on a
I don't
regular basis.
indulge in it like that. I had cut it out. But if like do, like my kids are probably getting meat twice a week. I try to cut down on it. That's the thing that we do in our family. So when we do chicken foot, but yeah, okay. Pepper soup is with goat. Go ahead.
That's interesting. Okay. We had to talk offline about that. This is the very last question of the show, which is, where could people find out more about you?
Oh my goodness. Please check out my podcast. It's everywhere. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Island Money 365, where we share the immigrant migration story, their success, their failures, and their triumphs. I also share money lingo as well, money ideas, how to get there, how to rebuild yourself. Also my website, www.brownfinancialsolutions.com. And same thing for Facebook. See, I'm there. I promise there's stuff on there. Brown Financial Solutions. And on Instagram, Island Money 365.
Nice.
And right here about that wallet.
Right. Well, one of the things I might have to do is, because I did do a geek out session that aren't for my regular day audience. We were talking about just geeking out about podcasting. The features of podcasting and how could we do better and stuff like that. I might have to bring you back on just to kind of talk about from the podcasting realm.
Okay.
What do you like about it? What you don't like about it? How can you get better and stuff like that? I'm not sure if I'll make that a whole nother segment, but this is something that has been on my mind.
You?
Yes. So if you're listening to this right now, you think like, hey, I would be interested in a podcast episode just to kind of talk about this. Go down and leave a comment on Spotify, because you can leave a comment on the actual episode, or even on YouTube. So I look forward to hear about it.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I like it. I put some words down there. Put some words. I would like to talk about it. I don't know if it's going to be helpful.
Hey, I mean, one of the cool things is that I like the questions from new podcasters about how they can get better. And it gets me to think about ways that I can actually get better. Because for me, I can only talk about what I've experienced and what I've seen and what's coming down the pipes, which has been good. But also everybody's podcast and everybody's audience is different. So what might work for me might not work for you. Just like personal finance is personal. Running your podcast business is personal too, because it depends on your audience.
Yes. I love it though. I love talking to people. I like hearing stories. I like stories, Anthony. Tell me, how did you get here? How did you get here? I just want to know.
Well, that's why I asked you your questions in a different way to kind of get through your story. I didn't, we touched on a few things, but we'll get there. All right. I'm sure you who are listening is tired of us bantering at this point. So
no, we're absolutely amazing. Never. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, they never. Obviously, you love us if you stayed this long. So because you made it this long, I just want to let you know you do have what it takes to be successful in anything that you want to do. And remember, throughout this whole interview, what we talked about was pretty much getting started. And really have a reflection in the mirror of saying, you know what, I don't like where I'm at. I need to do something different. And in order for you to do different, you need to set up your boundaries. And from the people that are in your life, or even from the things that you're purchasing, that is no longer adding value or is actually taken away from your goal in life. Because Petra-Ann, you talked about it. It was like, hey, family, not that I don't love y'all, but y'all need to block this. This can't happen anymore. I got things that I want to do for me and my family. So all right, so you got what it takes. If anything else, y'all be safe. We out. Peace.
Bye.